Hello guys, it is April from Getting Huggy with It. Today I am doing my November at the Moment video. So in this video I'm going to be talking about the books I'm reading, the booktubers I've been loving right now, movies that I've been watching, TV shows that I've been into, music. It's November at the Moment. Let's get into it. So first I want to talk about film. So on Halloween night, Barry and I went out to the movies and we went to go and see First Man with Ryan Gosling. It was amazing. I thought there was going to be a very action-packed story about Neil Armstrong, who was the first man on the moon, but it wasn't. It wasn't action-packed. It was more of a drama story. And I'm telling you, halfway through the movie, I just cried. For the rest of the movie, I was just crying. It was really amazing. The things that he has gone through was really fascinating. There was a lot of loss in his family that he felt throughout his life. And also in that career, and at that time, there were a lot of astronauts that lost their lives, and many of those people were his friends, and I never really thought about that aspect of being an astronaut. I just thought, oh, it's the most amazing, cool job ever. But yeah, it was really good. Ryan Gosling did such a good job. He was just spot on, and I was crying the whole time. So if you are hoping to go to the movie soon, I totally recommend seeing First Man. And there's so much Oscar buzz about that movie. I would be very shocked if that didn't win an Oscar or two. I also went to go and see the Nutcracker with my mom. I love the Nutcracker, like all things Nutcracker. In Christmas, at Christmas time, so much of my house is like decked out with Nutcracker stuff. I've just always loved the storyline since I was a little kid. And so when I knew Disney was coming out with the Nutcracker, I was like, well, we're going to see that, Mom. So we went and it was fantastic. I really liked it. They do play with the story. It isn't completely true to the Nutcracker story, but that's totally fine. The special effects were wonderful. It was so magical. Yeah, I just thought they did an absolutely amazing job. I can't wait to own it. Now I have to wait probably a whole year, right? Like they're not gonna put that out on DVD in June, right? They'll wait. So sadly, I'm gonna have to wait, but that's okay. I can do it. I can do it. But yeah, go and watch that. If you have a niece or a nephew who's into ballet or into like super magical stories, I mean, this was so good. There are a couple of scary parts. So maybe like 7 or 8 years old and up. I don't know. I shouldn't say the age because I'm not a mom, so I have no idea. So you can decide for yourselves. But yeah, those are the two films that I've watched recently that totally rocked my world. TV is another thing I have been so hooked on lately. Like I have barely been reading so far in November because I've been so obsessed with TV. It's not probably good for this channel, but I can't help myself. So first up is something that I watched in October, but I watched after I had filmed my October at the Moment. I still need to talk about it, and it is The Haunting of Hill House. This is a Netflix TV series that I was really hooked on. I just loved it, especially the beginning. The first 5 episodes are truly scary, and then the next 5 episodes are not nearly as scary. It kind of switches a little bit to be a little bit more sad. But those first 5 episodes, it had lots of like jumpy outy points, but it was also just eerie where, you know, it didn't rely on jumpy outy stuff. It didn't rely on that. There were a lot of scenes where you'd be watching this family who had lived at Hill House. There was obviously major hauntings there, and they're being haunted in their adult lives as well. So you'll see this family, and then all of a sudden you'll see a ghost in the background. And so some of the stuff is super subtle, and I really appreciated that, because I think that's really smart on their part to do that. We don't need to be scared all the time, because people will rewatch these things, right? And you know when something scary is going to happen if it's all jump scares. So yeah, I thought it was amazing. Episode 5, I could barely sleep after episode 5. You know what I'm talking about if you've watched it. Anyway, Barry and I watched Making a Murderer 2 together. So this is the second season in this documentary series about the Averys. There are 2 Avery men who are in prison. They're convicted of killing a woman, and they have been saying that they're innocent all of this time. I thought Stephen Avery's new lawyer in season 2 was so amazing. I really liked her. I kind of wanted to be her, because she's so badass. She's so smart. Nothing intimidates her. No bad news is gonna get in her way. She's just like, well, okay, we'll just try this. Like, I would want her as a lawyer if I was in a bad situation like these men. I would definitely want her as a lawyer. I did still struggle with the Averys themselves. I wish they would stop focusing on the families. It's very boring. Like, they will literally film Stephen Avery's parents making supper and talking to each other at supper. I think they're trying to showcase these people are very unwell. They are, you know, they're not well off. They're really struggling financially, and to give us some empathy. But I think there's already empathy for all of these families. But it's just a lot of, I don't want to watch someone making dinner. Like, it's really boring. I wish the documentary director or writer would just kind of back off of that a little bit. So that's annoying, and I could only watch like 2 episodes at a time, because sometimes the family would annoy me so much that I'd just be like, I can't watch more than 2 episodes in a day. So there's that. I watched that. I also watched the 6th season of House of Cards. This is the first season with Robin Wright as the main star. Kevin Spacey is no longer in House of Cards for very good reasons. And I'm happy to say this show did perfectly fine without him. And, you know, it's funny though, because I thought it was meant to be the last season, and the way it ended, and I'm not going to say anything, but the way it ended, I was just like, oh, clearly it's not the last season then. There's got to be more. So I'm really curious about that. I should do a little bit of research on that, because I was super confused. I didn't realize it was the last episode, and the last scene was happening. I was like cooking something, and then it was just over, and I was like, wait a second, I thought this was supposed to be the end of the whole thing. In any case, it's very good. Robin Wright is just, she's just so good as Claire. I just love her. And now I am watching The Bodyguard, which is like a BBC drama. I'm really liking it so far. It's very addictive, about a bodyguard who's taking care of a politician. He has definitely been to, I think it's Afghanistan that he was at, if I'm not mistaken. He's been to war. You know that he's had a lot of problems after that. I think he has PTSD, but he's now a policeman, and he's taking care of this woman and defending her. And it's really action-packed, which is fun to watch sometimes. So those are the TV shows I've been really into. For music, I can't help myself. I am officially an Ariana Grande fan. After listening to Thank You Next, I was just like, yep, downloading all of her albums. Okay, I just downloaded her latest. But I'm addicted to that song. I can't stop singing it. Poor Pete Davidson didn't know what was coming, but it is so good. It's really like catchy, and I just can't stop listening to it. So I've downloaded her recent album and I've been listening to that. I haven't had any major like new discoveries of people. Usually I'll try to mention someone new, but I did want to say it's kind of like a rediscovery, and that is Julie's channel, A Girl and a Book. Julie has been kind of quiet on the booktube side of things for a while because she's had a lot going on in her life. I think she moved like twice in 6 months with 2 kids, and like her life has been really, really busy. But she did finally make another video recently, and I love Julie. She's one of my dear friends. Like, I really do consider her a dear friend in real life. We talk several times a week. I just love her. So Julie reads a lot of fantasy, she reads horror, and she likes like gritty horror. She reads thrillers. She likes a lot of family dramas, like about stories revolving families that are dysfunctional. She has great taste in books. I don't read fantasy really, but she always somehow piques my interest in all of that stuff. So if you are looking for someone new to go and follow, I totally would recommend Julie from A Girl and a Book. Okay, finally, books. So I am listening to a book on audio called Stalin's Daughter, and it's about Stalin's daughter. And it's really worrisome. This girl has gone through so much in her life, or had gone through so much in her life, just so much upheaval. She lost her mother at a very young age. All of the friends and family that surrounded her as a child, many of them were killed by her father. And she asked for asylum with America, and I think moved to America. Now, one thing I'm struggling with this book is the timeline. The way they're writing it is not very easy to follow. They jump all over the place, I should say, and they keep giving away major plot points and then moving backwards. So they'll be like, and this man died this way. He was originally in our main character's life when she was a child, blah, blah, blah. So they'll start with the punchline and then move backwards in time and build up. And I don't like that. I'd rather like hear the narrative of her life from start to finish. And it's really confusing. And I also don't know very much about Russia and its history, and so I'm kind of struggling with it a little bit, but it's also fascinating. So we'll see if I continue it or not, but I have been interested for some reason in Russian history lately. The other book that I'm reading is a physical book, and that is Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet by Jamie Ford. I am now about 80 pages in. It's finally starting to pick up. It's only 267 pages, and it's only starting to pick up now, so I feel like they needed it to just drive the story a little bit more earlier on, but it's fine so far, and I've heard that this is a really sad book, so Lord knows that at the end of this I'll be in tears, and I'll probably, you know, give this quite a high rating, but I don't know. So far I'm not blown away, but it's good. So that's it from me for November. Let me know in the comments below what you've been up to this November. Like, let's not talk about books. I want to know, like, what movies have you gone to see? What TV shows are you into? What booktuber are you obsessed with right now? Like, we talk so much about books, obviously, on my channel, which I love. But I also want to get to know you guys on other levels, so let me know all of that stuff in the comments below, and I'll see you soon. Okay.